Celtic Twilight by W.B. Yeats. The Untiring Ones. It is one of the great troubles of life that we cannot have any unmixed emotions. There is always something in our enemy that we like, and something in our sweetheart that we dislike. It is this entanglement of moods which makes us old, and puckers our brows, and deepens the furrows about our eyes. If we could love and hate with as good a heart as the fairies do, we might grow to be long-lived like them. But until that day, their untiring joys and sorrows must ever be one half of their fascination. Love with them never grows weary, nor can the circles of the stars tire out their dancing feet. The Donegal peasants remember this when they bend over the spade or sit full of the heaviness of the fields besides the griddle at nightfall. When they tell stories about it, that it may not be forgotten. A short while ago, they say, two fairies, little creatures, one like a young man, one like a young woman, came into a farmer's house, and spent the night sweeping the hearth and setting all tidy. The next night they came again, and while the farmer was away, brought all the furniture upstairs into one room, and having arranged it round the walls, for the greater grandeur it seems, they began to dance, and danced on, and days and days went by, and all the countryside came to look at them, but still their feet never tired. The farmer did not dare to live at home the while, and after 3 months he made up his mind to stand it no more, and went and told them that the priest was coming. The little creatures, when they heard this, went back to their own country, and there their joy shall last as long as the points of the rushes are brown, the people say, and that is until God shall burn up the world with a kiss. But it is not merely fairies who know untiring days, for there have been men and women also, falling under their enchantment, have attained, perhaps, by the right of their God-given spirits, and even more than fairy abundance of life and feeling. It seems that when mortals have gone amid those poor happy leaves of the imperishable rose of beauty, blown hither and thither by winds that awaken the stars, the dim kingdom has acknowledged their birthright, and perhaps a little sadly, and given them of its best. Such a mortal was born long ago, at a village in the south of Ireland. She lay asleep in a cradle, and her mother sat by rocking her, when a woman of the Sidhe, the fairies, came in and said that the child was chosen to be the bride of the prince of the dim kingdom, but that, as it would never do for his wife to grow old and die while he was still in the first ardor of his love, she would be gifted with a fairy life. The mother was to take the glowing log out of the fire and bury it in the garden, and her child would live as long as it remained unconsumed. The mother buried the log, and the child grew up and became a beauty, and married the prince of the fairies, who came to her at nightfall. Remember the myth that I was trying to tell about the for Litha last year? Was it last year? After 700 years, the prince died, and another prince ruled in his stead, and married the beautiful peasant girl in his turn. And after another 700 years, he died also, and another prince and another husband came in his stead, and so on until she had 7 husbands. At last, one day, the priest of the parish called upon her and told her that she was a scandal to the whole neighborhood with her 7 husbands and her long life. She was very sorry, she said, but she was not to blame, and then she told him about the log, and he went straight out and dug until he found it, and then they burned it, and she died, and was buried like a Christian, and everybody was pleased. Oh yeah, long life. A woman who stays married, oh, that's a scandal because after her one husband died, she should have been, so broken up that, it's like, well, doesn't mean you're not sad if you marry after your spouse dies. Such a mortal too was Cluth na Bear, who went all over the world seeking a lake deep enough to drown her fiery life, of which she had grown weary, leaping from hill to lake and lake to hill, and setting up a cairn of stones wherever her feet lighted, until she at last found the deepest water in the world in little Loia, on top of the Birds' Mountain at Sligo. Well, maybe in that area it was the deepest. We know there's a trench that's deeper. Doubtless, Cluth na Bear should be Céileach bear, which would mean the old woman bear. Bear or Bera or Vera or Dara or Dere. Dara was a very famous person, perhaps the mother of the so-called gods themselves. A lot of heroes get divinized. A friend of mine found her, as he thinks, frequenting Lou Leith, or the Grey Lake, on a mountain of the Fuse. Perhaps Luia is my mishearing, or the storyteller's mispronunciation of Leath, for there are many Leaths. The 2 little creatures may well dance on, and the woman of the log and Cluth na Bear sleep in peace, for they have known untrammeled hate and unmixed love, and have never wearied themselves with yes and no, or entangled their feet with the sorry net of maybe and perhaps. The great winds came and took them up into themselves.